Sanbonani, Dumelang, Goeiemorgen, and hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Digital Campus Queen's University Belfast Virtual Roundtable Conversation. My name is Busisiwe Ndlovu, and I will be your moderator today. In the true form of a conversation, it will not only be our voices that you get to hear today, but we invite you to make your voices heard too. So engage with us, use the chat function to ask questions, share your thoughts and your experiences, and let this be a conversation that you too are part of. So to kick us off and to get you ready to converse with us, we're going to start off with an icebreaker. So you'll see on the screen that there are already 2 questions that have been posed there. So this is how we get to know you a little bit more. So the first question is, where in the world are you? And the next question is, if you could choose one superpower, what would it be? So please drop your answers in the chat and let's get to know everyone. I see we already have Belfast. There's Kenya. Good morning, everybody. This is also an opportunity to let everybody to join in and settle in. Good morning, Rasejo. I hope I'll be pronouncing everyone's name right. Hi, Cape Town. See quite a bit of Johannesburg, South Africa. I'm not seeing a lot of superpowers. If you could have one superpower of your choice, what would it be? To read minds. That's always, Michelle, that's always one for me as well. Belfast, Bloemfontein, Frankfurt, Germany. Alfredo, thank you for joining. Taryn, the ability to heal. That is very sweet and not selfish. Pauline, the ability to heal. South Africa, Orange Farm. Nala, thank you for joining. Superpower to heal as well, Shamola. That's a very nice one. And everybody, if you've just joined, we're having a quick icebreaker. You can introduce yourself in the chat by telling us where you are in the world and what superpower you would have if you could choose only one. Mine has always been in being invincible or reading minds. Those two, I think I could conquer a lot with that. Of course, in the real world, the ability to lose weight fast enough is one I could definitely do with as well. I see a lot of Joburg coming in as well. And Charles also from Eswatini, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Roshan from Cape Town, hello.
Sorry, Bruce, I think we just do need to lift up Mashumi's superpower there and, you know, the ability to provide electricity, you know.
Oh, that is one that is dear to many's heart on this call, to provide electricity. Sure. I actually wonder if I'd share if I could do that, or would I keep it to myself? That's a really good one, Rashumi. Thanks, Taryn. And I see you're also getting a lot of thumbs up on that. Welcome once again, everybody. Thank you for joining in this roundtable conversation with us and allowing us to also get to know you a little bit as we kick off the session. So now that we know you a little bit more, I'd like to introduce you to our panelists. As I introduce them, I'll ask them to come on screen and to give a big wave as well as I introduce them. So we have firstly on our panelist, Dr. Ulf. So Dr. Ulf Bosch is a professor with the Queen's Management School, the academic director of the Clinton Leadership Institute, and the program director of Leading Change in a Digital Era. He has 20 years of consulting experience with the focus of leading change in the digital, with a focus on organizational, behavioral, and cultural change. He is a TEDx speaker and a book author on digital transformation strategies. Ulf is also an avid marathon runner of over 25 years. And when asked about his superpower of choice, Ulf said, I think that human potential is limitless. Hence, we already have superpowers within. The power of thought is one of the most intriguing, in my opinion. If you think you can do it, and if you think you can't do it, both are right. And Ulf also answered an additional question around the 3 emojis that he last typed on his phone. And those were the double heart, a thumbs up, and the present with sparks.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. I'm excited to be in the session and to be part of the panel discussion. So yes, good morning.
Thank you, Ulf. And then next on our panel, we have Gavin Olafir. Gavin is the senior partner and managing executive at LRMG and heads up two of their EdTech businesses, Digital Campus and LearnTech. Gavin has a background in human resources management and management consulting, focusing on improving individual and organizational performance. Gavin is deeply passionate about optimizing performance and sees the use of technology as a major asset in delivering services to customers, suppliers, and staff. Gavin is an avid golfer and holds to the famous Gary Player quote, "The more I practice, the luckier I get." And as a superpower, teleportation would be great, Gavin says.
Morning, everybody, and likewise, also excited to be here. And as superpower would also be play better golf, but we keep practicing.
Thank you, Gavin. And then we also have Laith Dajani. Laith Dajani is the Executive Director for Executive Education at Queen's Management School, where he leads the William J. Clinton Leadership Institute. For more than 20 years, Laith traveled extensively and held multiple leadership roles for leading global organizations across multiple business disciplines and industry sectors throughout his corporate career. Having worked for INSEAD, the American University of Beirut and Queen's University, Belfast, and as a citizen of the world, Laith is passionate about democratizing education by leveraging EdTech and continuing to innovate with learning experience designs. Laith's superpower of choice is invisibility, which I think he'd probably keep handy right now if he had a choice.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Africa and the rest of the world. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I hope you all take a lot away from this and enjoy the webinar. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And last but definitely not least, we also have our chat navigator, Taryn. You did hear her voice earlier on, and you'll definitely be hearing more from her. Taryn Haynes-Smart is the Digital Campus Head of Product Development. You've already heard her voice once, and you'll probably hear it again throughout the session as we continue with our conversation. So to get right into it, as part of today's conversation, we are formally celebrating the strategic relationship between LRMG Digital Campus and Queen's University, Belfast. As we know, a relationship works best when there are mutual benefits. We'd love to hear more about what sparked this partnership and what you hope to see achieved as a result. Laith, I'll start off with you. Why this partnership with Digital Campus and why now?
Thank you, Lucy. The partnership with Digital Campus has obviously come out with the disruption that has happened in the educational sector and post-COVID with a lot of the education going online and learning. So it was an easy fit as we identified mutual beneficial goals between Digital Campus and the William J. Clinton Leadership Institute. Both parties want to transform businesses and society through education for the better good. And therefore, in partnering with Digital Campus, I believe we can achieve objectives that cannot be met by any one organization alone. The relationship that we have allows us to leverage each other's strengths and resources to democratize the best in the online executive education programs to Africa. So hopefully the strength of our two, the innovation that we bring, and the technological advances that we can put into education will be the strength of our partnership.
Definitely. And Gavin, what sparked this partnership for you?
Thanks, Mr. Siwe. The partnership similarly forms part of our overarching strategy of Digital Campus to work with leading tertiary institutions, both locally in South Africa and internationally, to bring world-class learning experiences to our clients. The partnership meets the aspirations of Queen's, as you just heard from Laith, in their aspiration to open a gateway into Africa through the digitization of their business school leadership programs. And in Opportune, we get to work with leading global academics. And through that, our clients get to experience the Queen's University quality education through the digital platform that we've established. And so it's very much a win-win-win partnership that we're tremendously excited about and are looking forward to growing in the coming years beyond the course that we are launching today.
Thanks. In my day-to-day, I'm afforded the opportunity to hear from learners, students, scholars across industries on what future skills look like to them. And I can definitely say that I'm thrilled to see what this partnership will bring to them, which leads me directly into my next point. This exciting partnership is kicking off with the Executive Development course, Leading Change in the Digital Era. Today's engagement is an example of what technology and the digital era enables us to do from anywhere in the world, which speaks directly to the democratizing of education. This would not be possible in the past without having huge costs and with time and travel as well. But we know also that with change, change is very unnerving. So Ulf, given the rate of exponential change in technology, what are the opportunities for us in leading and influencing change?
Thank you for asking this question regarding leading and influencing change. It is a very relevant, timely topic, not only because of exponential technology, but we're all seeing that competition is accelerating. Our markets are very volatile, not only markets, the political environment, geopolitical environment is in crisis in many places. So my starting point for looking at change is the organization as a socio-technical system. What do you mean by that? Organizations consist of people, the socio part, and they consist of structure, technology, governance, processes, so the technical part. There's a lot of disruption and change going on the technical side. We saw something in the introduction about artificial intelligence. The metaverse is coming up. All companies are moving to the cloud nowadays. So a lot of disruption on the technical side. However, studies are telling us since 25 years that 50% of projects, 50% plus of projects are failing, not because of technology, but basically because of resistance to change. So as leaders, we shall take care of the people side, of the socio side of change, because there's a saying, change is simple. We are moving from A to B, right? But it's not easy. So we need to help our organization from the people side to make that move and to make that transition. What can we do specifically? I give you 5 activities or 5 focus areas. First of all, we need to involve people, so people want. If you don't involve, no chance, they're not buying into it. We need to communicate in the right way. We need to address their concerns so they know what the change is all about. Thirdly, we need to enable people so they actually can go in that direction. And we all know you get what you measure. Don't forget about that. We need to measure the progress towards change. Finally, in order to make change stick, we need to ingrain that in the thinking, in the mindset. It needs to become like a lifestyle or it needs to be instilled in the DNA. So as a summary to your question, obviously, leaders need to be tech savvy, so that technology side is very important. However, the true potential lies with those leaders who are able to mobilize their organization and make them confidently operate in a VUCA environment. So that's my my pick on that.
Thank you very much, Ulf. I definitely like that top 5, and ones that definitely sparked out at me is address the concern. I think with technology, that's a very big one. Address the concerns and also enable your people and enable yourself as well. Laith, what do you see as the biggest opportunities for humans in the digital era?
That's a great question, Busi. They can have so many different positive and negative angles to it. As Ulf alluded to, the fact that technology brings great advances, but it also comes with its challenges. Personally, I see the positive in it. The digital era has brought many new opportunities for people to access information, connect with others, and improve their lives in various ways. For example, online learning platforms, what we're talking about today, and educational technology have made it possible for people to access education from anywhere, regardless of the location or financial situations. This has opened up opportunities for lifelong learning and skill development, and has made education more accessible to people who previously may have been unable to pursue it. Additionally, the digital era provides the opportunity for automation to free up time for more creative and fulfilling work, and the ability to use technology to solve complex problems and improve the quality of life. So clearly there are lots of benefits to it, and those are just a couple of examples. But however, you know, a lot of challenges come with this as well. So we have to be cognizant of privacy, security, the digital divide. And therefore it's so important that we continue to work on creating solutions to overcome these challenges. I think if we look at technology and embrace it with a positive aspect and don't get intimidated by the disruption and as Ulf pointed out, resistance to disruptive change, then I think we can have a bright future alongside with the technological changes that are happening.
Yes, maybe adding to what Laith just said, I think the alignment of people and machine, people and technology is crucial from a leadership perspective. The task of a leader is to make sense out of what is going on in the technological sphere. And ultimately, and a lot of people in the organization will ask this question, what will be best covered by technology, and what is like the area where people and leaders can add the most value going forward? We need to think about these aspects. And I think it's there are areas where technology cannot go into, right? They will remain there. And as a in terms of strategic foresight, we need to identify these spaces. Now, I see them in the area of ethics. I think, Laith, you mentioned that. We need to have oversight of ethics, about empathy, about solving interactional issues, team problems, how we work in teams that cannot be covered by technology. Creativity is a whole sphere where technology apparently can go in, but at the end of the day, technology cannot link unrelated ideas, previously unrelated ideas like humans can do. So I think that is the point. And what I mentioned earlier, to generate commitment, to generate buy-in, build rapport, build trust, is an area where technology cannot go into that. We need to align, we need to benefit, but we need to be aware what is the turf of leaders, of people going forward.
Thank you, Ulf. And Gavin, from an African and South African context, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, Busi, I think, you know, Africa has massive potential for economic growth based on its adoption of these digital technologies that both Ulf and Laith have referred to. And recently, the World Economic Forum has published an article referencing the massive growth in just mobile service subscriptions across Africa, where it's projected that there's going to be 615 million subscribers by 2025. And even that number, they're saying, you know, maybe undersubscribed. And access to the technology, though, must be coupled with the security, the governance, the education, both of the consumer, but also of the leaders that are going to be taking these technologies into business, to enable the opportunities to democratize learning, to enable better workflows and better processes within business. So there's massive opportunities to be leveraged. And if we look at this in just in the context that we're speaking now, is how do we use this technology to open up and to break down the barriers to entry, you know, to world-class learning content. And as more and more people are gaining access to the internet across Africa, we see the opportunity to break down the barriers of access to this world-class education, just as one element of it, let alone all the other possibilities that technology brings us to liberate people from the mundane and into more deep work, and the work that Ulf was actually referring to, that is going to significantly change the way we engage, perform, and ultimately deliver value and services to our customers, our suppliers, and notably our employees. And so how do we maximize the value that technology brings us? And I think all of that is a tremendous, exciting opportunity for us, but something that also comes with the challenge of change, as Ulf has alluded to in his introduction. So how do we get it right? That we take the people along with us, because otherwise the change will fudge.
I'd just like to add to that, Busi, in terms of the question, in terms of the opportunity as well, because I think it's not just about the technology in terms of, but it's more, I mean, one of the opportunities I think that is right there, it's kind of the big elephant in the room, is the fact that if you want to put it in, as you put it in your introduction at the very beginning, taking on new technologies, learning new skills, developing our capabilities alongside with the technologies really gives us new superpowers. I can reinvent myself because of the type of technologies that are out there. So, and that's where lifelong learning comes in, and that's where continuous development in professional life comes in, because we're able to actually reinvent ourselves and give ourselves new skills and new capabilities that we might not have ever fathomed about before. And if you look at the amount of entrepreneurial activity that is happening as a result of the technological changes as well, it is in a sense giving everybody the opportunity to do something new that they didn't have before. And so I think I go back to what Ulf was saying as well, is we shouldn't be afraid of the resistance to disruptive change. We shouldn't be afraid of that, and because we can actually gain a lot more from this kind of advancement.
Thank you. I definitely love what you added there. You could reinvent yourself, and then in that as well, use the opportunity of social media to spread that reinvention, to continue to learn as well. And one of the important things that you also highlighted is education. We know that education and learning is and will ultimately be the agent of this change. Whether we're in a leadership position or not, we all have a role to play in leading digital transformation. It's happening faster than we can possibly imagine. With this in mind, I would like to see the question in your minds. What is the secret for success in leading digital transformation? So this is another opportunity to let your voice be heard. You'll see a poll come up on screen with this question. I'll repeat it again. What is the secret for success in leading digital change? So you can select your answer and submit. These are the options that we have on screen: technology or technical competence, organizational agility, the second option, and lastly, culture/mindset. So we'll give you a few seconds to pop in your results, to pop in your feedback, your answer to this question. I'm counting the seconds. We'll give it about a minute or so, depending on how many answers we have yet. Luke, how are we doing on the responses? Earlier in our conversation, Ulf, you had a prediction around these results, and I do see you smiling there. So please come online and share your thoughts on these results that we see on screen.
Yes, Busi, thank you. Indeed, I had a prediction, and I was predicting that culture and mindset will take the lead and will win this. Will be the highest scorer in this survey. So that is correct. I said slightly higher, actually. I was at 3/4. That's what I predicted, 78. But still, we have more than 50% confirmed culture mindset is the topic, taken together with maybe with agility. And you can argue that the readiness and willingness to change is ultimately a mindset topic. So these go hand in hand. We have a very high score on these. Still, we have 20% of the participants in the survey, or 19%. Stating that technology is the secret to success. And that's important because we need to know our challenges, especially if we want to drive change. And indeed, there is a lot of technical competence needed, and you need to get the technology right. You need to get your processes right. They actually dictate how we work together, what kind of level of transparency we have in an organization, what access rights somebody had. Actually, it redefines your whole hierarchies and organizational governance. But still, most of participants tend to look at agility and to culture as the secret sauce, let's put it like that, in the transformation game.
And as a thought leader in this space, what do you see as the critical leadership skills we need to be developing in our people to thrive in this digital era?
Yes, that's a logical follow-up to that. Yes, my observation is that leaders, really the mandate of leaders is to drive change. I know there are like well-known authors out there like Kotter who's saying the mandate of the leaders are change, but it's truly change is overriding. And therefore, acquiring this competence to bring people on board and to enable them and to make them move in that direction is really the key. Having said that, it's all about instilling confidence to step out of this comfort zone, because we probably, or some of you have heard about this change curve, Kübler-Ross change curve. We are all heading through this valley of despair. So it's not like only our organization is resistant. We indirectly or openly are resistant as well in certain areas. So it's about self-awareness. The leader needs to be self-aware where you are on this journey and then help others along. Confidence is really the key. If an organization is confident, if a leader is confident, and that doesn't mean like a hybrid thing to say superpower, we can do everything, but actually you're not prepared to do it. But you need to be realistic but confident in your learning, that you learn the things you haven't acquired yet, and you can bring your organization along. Another thing that is very important in recent times, and we talk about the digital era, we have new technology coming in that facilitates a lot of interaction of leaders, right? Or requires different kind of interaction in hybrid working, in remote working, but also in terms of transparency, what's happening on these platforms and so on. So leaders need to be tech savvy. And having said that, we are having new generations entering the organizations. Hopefully we can attract them to enter our organizations. And in terms of change, there's an interesting phenomenon. These new cohorts of workers, of employees, professionals, they don't need to adapt to change. They are born with it, right? They come with it. They have the expectation that the environment, the working environment is like that. So whether we like certain transformation changes, where we say, oh, we don't want to move to the cloud because of concerns about data privacy, or we don't like to standardize to go to public cloud, there's not really a choice, because new cohorts, and they will determine our success going forward. We have no future if we cannot inspire and get the new cohorts on board. They are just requiring it, right? So we need to shift our leadership style towards technology, towards new cohorts, in order to be viable, in order to have a path to succeed in the digital era.
I was on mute there for a second. I was waiting for that to happen at some point.
We thought you'd gone invisible, like your superpower.
Yeah, there you go, the superpower comes back again. I mean, listening to you, Ulf, I think it's clear that, you know, technology pulls us towards innovation, because technology is the tool, and we have to innovate with the technology. And if we don't take advantage of that, then things won't change, because it is about leading change, right? So I believe that people need to be able to navigate the digital landscape, similar to what you said in terms of being techie savvy, and take advantage of the many opportunities that it offers in that respect. It's important that the skills are not only beneficial for individuals, but also for the organizations, because like you rightly said, is we've got a whole new generation of who are digital savvy. As they create positive change for building a better future, I mean, these are the people who will change the future for us. And I think you're very spot on when you say that, you know, this new generation, they don't think about things as being digital. It's sort of, you know, it's the older generations look at it and say, sorry, the older generations look at it and say, pass me a digital camera. But there is no such thing as a digital camera anymore. There's just a camera. It is digital. Everything is like that. So I do agree with a lot of what you're saying right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a comprehensive response, Ulf. And you know, Laith, what you built on was this idea that the skills that we need, and I'm conscious and very wary of using the term soft skills, because they're not soft. They are in fact hard skills, because the context for learning those things, such as emotional intelligence, such as being able to communicate and inspire people and take people along with you to a journey of the future that you've envisaged for them, it's hard. So as much as what, you know, colloquially we refer to them as soft skills, that they're the core business skills essentially of what is needed to succeed in this volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous world that we live in. And so, you know, we're advocating almost in a way for the dropping of the term, you know, soft skills, but knowing that, you know, it's still widely used. So how do we make sure that we develop the business skills that are so critically important to take the people along with us on this journey? We often talk in our own business about being right in knowing what must be done, and then to inspire people to do what must be done. And that's a skill. Now, you know, many of the new jobs that we are going to be entertaining and recruiting for are unknown. So we're also not sure what the skills are that we're going to need into the future. And some of them may be technical skills, and we can start seeing them, and we need more Python specialists, and we need more data scientists. We know that. But what are the human skills? What are the people skills, the business skills that we need to take those people along with us, ensure that they're inspired to your dream, and that they are ignited to perform at optimal levels? And that's what's at the core, really, of managing change in this digital era, in my view. So it's not the soft skills. It's, in fact, the harder skills that we need to master.
And one of the quotes I heard in our conversation is that, and if we don't master the so-called soft skills, there'll be hard consequences. So, and that in fact is what makes them the hard skills. I love this conversation and how it's shown a diversity in our cognitive thinking as well. So what is the one thing you would want the audience to know about the Leading Change in a Digital Era executive program? Gavin, I'll start off with you.
Having challenges unmuting as well. So one of the things that, you know, we know about online learning is sometimes people view it as a lonely space. And I want to, you know, re-emphasize the point that it's not the case. You know, there's levels of support that you're going to experience from the Digital Campus Learning Journey team. You're going to have access to Ulf online through the fireside chats. You're going to have access to your peers who are on the program with you. And so what the design of the solution ultimately seeks to do is to bring together the best of what Queen's University has to offer in a digital environment. And that's where the magic lives, because not everybody is going to be afforded the opportunity to jump in an airplane, travel to Belfast, and go and attend the program face-to-face with Ulf that he presents. So how do we bring about that experience that is all the quality of the education that you would receive and the learning that you would receive in a digital environment, that it feels personable, and responsive and, really engaging. And that's what we want to encourage people to know, that we've taken care of in the Digital Campus Queen's University partnership.
Then Laith, moving on to you, what would you want our audience to know?
Well, I'd want the audience to know, I guess, building on the previous question or the poll that you did, is they will come out with a different mindset, and they will have tools to be able to rethink the culture of their organizations with a new perspective on how to lead change. I think that's really important to take into consideration, that you yourself are going to hopefully go through a journey of learning over the 9 weeks for self-directed learning and the fireside chats, to be able to then come out yourself with a new outlook in terms of how you want to face the challenges. So I'd say to people that they need to be ambitious and ready to apply learning into their organizations. And like Gavin said, is face the digital era with full confidence that they'll be taking this journey, because through such programs as Leading Change in the Digital Era, it will give them the necessary skills and equip them with the necessary insights and knowledge to be able to face new challenges in the future.
Ulf, as the face we'll be seeing in the fireside chats, any words from you?
Yes, just building on what Gavin and Laith just said, it's really rethinking the topic. So coming to the course and really capture what is my thought, what is my framing of the topic, because the way we think about a topic is the learning that sticks with us the longest. So how do you think about this topic? So what is the right angle for this topic? How do I see that? So this is the first one. The other thing is we are living in a very, very special time. So a lot of things, a lot of VUCA is happening right in front of our eyes. We just need to read a little bit in the news. We have all the case studies going on right in front of our eyes. These companies try, they struggle, they succeed in change, and we can read so much out there. So my recommendation is to read widely. Read in the news, in the quality news, read publications, read articles, read widely, so you can synthesize what you learn in the course, apply that, and obviously, and you said that, apply it to your own context. The major takeaway or expectation you should have is make it your learning. So if you go into the course, bring your questions or develop your questions, and insist on getting these questions answered, because there are no wrong questions. And of course, if you ask, or if you bring knowledge, there is no wrong knowledge. It depends on how you frame it and how you understood it. So make it your learning and get the best out of it. Become confident, and by saying becoming confident, from my perspective, it depends on one big factor. Leading change is not something fluffy. It is something very tangible. I did, since 10 years, I'm doing research. It's called return on change. Why am I doing that? Because you have stakeholders in your organizations, also external stakeholders, who are not buying into fluffy stuff. They want tangible things, and change is tangible. You need to change in order to strive and survive. So what you get out of this course, and you should look for this in this course, is to get a playbook and a tool set to enable you to not doing fluffy stuff, but to do a systematic change leadership. By having this kind of toolings at your hand, you know what to do. You can be confident in what you're doing, even if you're talking to technical people. Like I did a lot of projects with engineers, like automotive companies or financial services. They are totally wired differently. So you need to have this kind of tool set to stand your ground, to really drive the change in a systematic way. And by doing that, you professionalize yourself and you can be very confident in what you do. And you're not getting like, you're not starting to sweat if somebody says, why are we doing that, right? So that's my my recommendations and my, my thoughts on that.
Thank you, Ulf. And if anybody would like to know more and intrigued to definitely further the conversation, please feel free to drop your name in the chat as well, and to contact on this. This is a subject we could spend days talking about, and I can imagine it would be a powerful discussion, and a powerful discussion awaits us as well and the audience as we continue on this journey. When we started off our session, we invited you to post your questions in the chat, your questions and your comments as well, because we want to hear from you as this is a conversation. So this is the opportunity now where we're going to lift up some of your questions. So if you've already posted your questions on the chat, Taryn will lift up these questions for our panelists. If you have a burning question that you haven't asked, feel free to put it on the chat. And then if you'd like to address your question to a specific panelist, please also just add their name in the question, so it will be directed specifically to them. Over to you, Taryn.
Awesome. Thank you, Busi. Yes, some lovely comments and commentary coming throughout, responding to what's been shared, sharing thoughts, lift up to Ricardo, who's busy with his master's thesis, in fact, on the factors that influence SA businesses in adopting transformation, and measuring all the factors that were listed in our poll earlier. So good luck with those studies, Ricardo, and keep us posted as you go through that journey. Question from Amanda. Amanda, a good friend of our business. Nice to see your name there. And your question, what is the point of departure? Not to be afraid of resistance to change. And how do you approach it? No particular panelists, so I see I'm being asked to start my video. So I don't know who wants to tackle that question first.
Well, I'll go, since there's silence across the panelists, so the invisible man will come in here. So basically, if I get the question right, Taryn, it's what's the starting point on the journey and how do you tackle the change, right? That's what's being asked. I think, well, a lot of it is really like what Ulf had said at some point, which is, read around, know what's happening in the landscape. This is very, very important. That's a personal piece that everybody should have. They need to know what's happening around in the landscape. They need to then be able to connect the dots between the transformation and disruptions that are happening out there, to be able to create the vision that they need for their organization. Where do they want to take the organization with the kind of disruption that's happening in the landscape at this point in time? And recognizing that change doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey, and that they too, as leaders, I think, would have to recognize that what is new needs to also be addressed in themselves. So there's a change transformation that a leader needs to take upon themselves to be able to then, as I think it was Gavin said, taking the people along with them. So how do you take the people along with you in a VUCA world, in a world that there is no, if a leader doesn't have vision and can't see through the fog, how do you lead, right? I think that is one of the biggest challenges that we have today, because technology is changing so fast. So it is really about skilling yourself up. It's about learning more about the kind of innovation that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about before. Today, leaders and managers need to know more about transformation, need to know more about the digital disruption that is happening, because they need to know how to leverage and get people, experts, to be able to create the innovation that they need within their organizations. I hope that kind of gives a bit of a direction.
Thank you.
If I can add to that, Sharon, I think it goes back to Ulf's research in the question, and for me, part of my response to Amanda would be it starts with mindset. and the mindset of the leader to, and again, connect back to Laith, of being open to not knowing everything. So there's this idea of being comfortable with not knowing and being comfortable with the uncertainty, which is a skill in and of itself, to be comfortable to say, I don't know, and to be comfortable with understanding, because I don't know, there may be resistance, and to work with that resistance as opposed to meeting it head on in a confrontational manner, but rather embracing it and seeking to understand first why the person is feeling the resistance, and understanding that, and then taking them along the journey. Because, you know, simply fighting it is meeting it with opposition is not going to lead to positive change. That would be my response.
Awesome. So, Ulf, we've got a question directly to you from Ricardo saying, noticed you are a triathlete. So without bias, do you believe digital transformation change is better handled by leaders who do endurance sports, such as triathletes? And by better, he's meaning the individuals are more competent to adapt to change rather than those who do not engage in endurance sports. And if yes, what do you believe is the main factor?
That's a great question. I did not expect this question, so it's not like no, it's a great observation, actually. And I think nowadays sports, endurance sports, health, well-being is all part of the leadership equation. You can't like focus on one, just on like doing the hours and being 24/7. You need to have a healthy balance and a sustainable balance. And for me, endurance sport is not about sport. Basically, it's about getting connected with your body and like re-energize. So it has a lot of benefits. Now, your observation is great. I think if you achieve something in endurance sports that displays qualities, you can use in leadership as well. And first of all, it's a logistical thing. So if you want to complete this kind of big achievement, you want to do like a marathon, a triathlon, and so on. A lot of things go into that, and you need a team. You need a team of people who help you, like coaches, like your whole support network. So it's not one. It's not the achievement of one. So that is the same in leadership. And it's you need to pay attention. You need to have so many decisions a whole year round. Actually, every day you have 10 decisions which feed into that result. If you deviate from that, it won't happen. And one important part is you need to know what distracts you. And that is also very relevant in change in leadership. We can say we want to make that happen. We want to have this change. But there is a small situation where you don't live up to your commitment. We call that the moment that matters. And if you know the moment that matters, you can actually relax mentally, because you're saying, I'm committed to that. I'm committed to do a workout or a run every day. I don't need to force myself, because I know the situation which derail me. And this situation, for example, in sport is if you come home after work and you sit down on the couch, on the chair, the commitment is out of the window. You never get up of this couch again. You can do everything when you come home, and you eat something. Maybe you do emails, but you don't sit on the couch. Your commitment is intact. You go for the run. You go to the gym. So these are the moments that matter in organizational context. I did that with companies, large companies. They identified their moment that matters. And this is huge stuff. Really, it brings them to realize their change, their what they plan to do. And this is something drawn directly from these sports. You need to have a network. You can't do it alone. Every day you have a lot of decisions feeding into that. You need to be aware of that, and you can't be distracted. And you need to be aware that a lot of things in sports is fascination. So if you start a marathon. You are running on adrenaline. You love it. The same in change in the beginning, or maybe not, but you have this project. But after a while, you go into fitness level. So you need to rely on your fitness. Then your fitness level is used up. Then you need to rely on your focus. So it's really willpower. And in the end, you need to go for the finish line. You just need to be persistent. And that's exactly the same journey you have in a change project. So I love this question. We haven't conceptualized that, Laith, as a course yet, but I think the parallels are very clear, and thank you for asking that.
Awesome, thanks, Ulf. And yes, I think a beautiful way to answer it and link into both the sports side and what's required within that. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to go to one last question and put it to the panel. But just to also note that if we didn't get to your question today, we will make sure they circle back to all the panelists and get a written answer that we can share with everyone thereafter. So from Shamola asking, what are your thoughts on the disruption in higher education with technology and AI software tools like ChatGPT? Do we block such technology or embrace it? And if we embrace it, what are your thoughts on how we do it?
Can I take that one?
Please.
At the start. So ChatGPT is a very interesting artificial intelligence machine learning software. And I think those kind of innovations are going to keep coming up. I think artificial intelligence is going to keep becoming stronger as a tool that can be used in various ways. And like I said earlier, in terms of, there are challenges that come with advances in technology and so forth. The educational sector, I think, is being disrupted heavily at the moment. And I think that there are a lot of areas that we're going to see will change in the future with regards to how education is delivered. There is talk, for example, that artificial intelligence at some point will be able to replace one-way lecturing within classes, for example. So I think education itself has to innovate, and education as a result has to innovate to be able to take advantage of the technological advances that are coming forwards. Because those technological advances aren't going to stop. And we're going to have to learn how to adapt around the changes that are happening. And if we want to be part of that journey, then we have to innovate so that we can have actually in the education sector where we can have a bit more skin in the game rather than be directed by the changes, but actually to direct the changes ourselves. So I don't think we should shut things off like ChatGPT. I think the challenge sits on the educational side, which is how do you deal with this new technology now that it exists? And I think that's the same as when we saw with the COVID period where education had to go online all of a sudden. And the schools and the educational sector basically scrambled around to try and quickly get itself online, up and running very quickly. And look at how it is changing all the time. I mean, we've moved from having rudimentary Zoom classes to having much more sophisticated Zoom classes. You've moved from instructional designers to learning experience designers. You've moved from educational platforms that were very basic to much more complex. So we have to embrace the change. That's where I would say, and we don't close the tap on the changes such as ChatGPT. I don't know what you think, Ulf and Gavin. Perhaps you want to lean in there.
Yes, I totally agree, Laith. I'm very interested in adopting the student's perspective. And as I said, we have new cohorts of students, of graduates, of young professionals engaging, and they expect this kind of new technology, that our education or our mode of delivery is informed by this technology. However, it is what you how you use it and what you make out of it. And I mentioned my recommendations for people, participants coming to the class, is to make the best learning experience for yourself out of it. So I have taught identical courses online and in person, and it depends on how participants are prepared and how you deliver, that you can achieve exactly the highest level of your delivery standards. So no matter which avenue, we call it equifinality, you can achieve excellence through different pathways. And that is actually what we can achieve in education as well, through different modes and channels and formats.
Lucy, I'm conscious of time and wary that we've got to wrap, but I think Ulf and Laith have succinctly captured it. I think the opportunity for us, both in higher education, but also just in business as general, is we have to be looking at leveraging technology in the learning space, whether it's from the advent of aggregators of learning content, the LXP space, which is new, how we're looking at these, pulling in content timelessly into learning journeys. We need to be leaning into those, and if ChatAPD is part of that, how do we embrace it whilst maintaining the standards, the ethics, and the mandate of higher education? We can't be seen to be breaking the rules, so to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. We thank you for the questions. Thank you for the answers, the ones that you prepared and the ones that you didn't prepare, but you were ready to tackle in this conversation. You will see on your screen that we do have a QR code. You will also see in the chat a link. Please tell us how you experienced our conversation today, the roundtable conversation. Share your thoughts as well and share your feedback with us, and we do hope to see you again. Some of the critical points in the last minute that have come up for me is that development in technology should not scare you, but the thought of the opportunities will bring should excite you. Secondly, confidence is key. Confidence in organizations, confidence in the leaders, and confidence in us as well. Lastly, we are the agents to leading in the digital era, and despite the racing pace of change, it is our efforts to learn that will ultimately change our behavior and transform the world of work and everything around us. Once again, please remember to complete the survey. If your questions weren't answered, we will answer them and share them in a document. Thank you for joining us and joining in our conversation and being a part of our partnership. We hope to see you again, whether in this format or on the program.